So, all right, yeah, the incident that happened to me. Yeah. So I met a mate of mine who lives local. His name's Sonny, and I took him with me to go and watch the game because he's got 2 kids at home. I said, let's get out and let's go and watch it at one of the pubs.
Right.
So near my house, we've got 3
home.
pubs. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the names because it'll give away the place where my parents live in. All right. So 3 pubs. Go to pub number 1. Pub number 1, you walk in, and there were like a couple of screens up, and it just felt like a bit weird being there because everyone was just looking at me and Sonny as he walked in.
Dead vibe. As in, just to be clear, you've been to these 3 pubs before.
I haven't. I actually haven't. I never go to the pub normally.
Did you know the types of crowds in these pubs?
No.
You didn't know which ones are upper crowd? Like,
no. Even though I live in it's now becoming an upper area, it's still not that way in the pubs. The pubs are still dominated by white people, which is cool. I ain't got a problem with that. But I walked in and me and Sonny were just feeling a bit like everyone's looking at us, and I was like, okay, don't worry. This is our backup option because there weren't many big screens. We thought, let's just leave it, we'll go somewhere else. Went to pub number 2. Okay. Pub number 2 said they're not showing the game. We're like, well, you're out the equation. Let's go to number 3. Got to number 3 and I said to Sonny, if there's nothing here, we'll head back to my mum's and I'll put it on TV there. We can watch it there if we want to.
Yeah.
We just want to like the atmosphere basically. Pull up, he goes inside, he says, I've got a table. I said, cool.
Number 3 is
Yeah. So I park up, go inside, the table had gone. And he said, the table's gone because I went outside to tell you. I said, don't worry about it. So I said, all right, let's find a banister.
Yeah.
Because in pubs, they have like little railings where you can put your drinks on as you stand. So I said, let's find a banister, let's grab some chairs, let's just make the best of the situation, let's get good seats to see on the big screen. Cool. So I take a seat, and I'm sitting here in the corner on the banister, and there's a guy to our right on a table of 4. There's 3 men sitting, there's 1 chair spare. So I said to the guy, is his chair free? And he looked at me for like a few seconds and he said, no, it's not, it's taken. I said, all right, cool, no worries. Go and grab 2 more chairs, pull up, sit down.
That's the question.
Me and Sonny are sitting down. I'm wearing a Real Madrid top, yeah? Because I'm like, I want Real Madrid to win. Yeah? I'm wearing a Real Madrid top.
Okay, let me wait before you carry on.
Yeah?
Would the incident happen had you not been wearing Real Madrid top?
Yes.
Alright, fine. It's not about that.
No, it's not about that.
Alright,
it's not about that. Bear in mind, I hadn't got my Real Madrid top out at this moment. I came in with a zip up, so no one knew what the fuck.
Everyone around you, Liverpool fans, or what?
No, everyone around me is just normal people.
Neutrals?
Just watching
wearing tops or not?
No one's wearing anything. It's just normal
it's
people.
not like a hardcore.
Yeah, it's normal people. We're in Birmingham. The majority of people you're going to find are Villa fans and Birmingham City fans.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Maybe Wolves if you're lucky. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's it. So I thought, okay, cool. Take a seat. And this guy, who I asked about the chair, he said, he said, are you guys supporting Real Madrid tonight? I said, yeah, we are. And he said, let me guess, you don't like Liverpool, do you? I said, no. He said, you're Man United fans, aren't you? I said, good. That was a good guess. Fair play. Yeah, we are.
Because you're brown.
Yeah, cool.
Most brown guys are.
Well, maybe.
Liverpool, isn't it? Liverpool, Man United. That's
well, no. Actually, I thought that, but then I was like, well, I know a lot of guys who are brown that support Arsenal, Chelsea.
So the big 4.
Huh?
The big 4 teams.
Yeah, but equally still, it's not
just
United.
There's no reason. Support your local teams, man.
Yeah.
Warsaw.
Anyway.
Sadlers.
Well, anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, could be supporting anyone, but all right, whatever.
So
cool.
you told him, yeah?
No. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, you know what? Fair play, good guess. Got it hole in one, Madonna, right? So Sonny gets up, he goes to the bar to get a couple of pints. Cool. Comes back over. He's there at the bar, and this guy, he turns to me. He's still asking me questions. He's like,
is he drunk?
Yeah, he's drunk, but he's still asking me.
How old?
Huh?
How old is he?
Like late 60s.
Oh,
I'd say.
old.
Yeah, old. Right. So he then asked me. He says, so why do you support Man United? I said, I just always have ever since I was a kid. I said I chose him. I really like David Beckham. I really like Ruud van Nistelrooy. So I chose him as my team, and I've stuck with him ever since. And he said, so whereabouts in Birmingham are you from? I said, I was born and raised in West Brom. And he's like, so why don't you support Albion? I said, I do. They're my second team I follow. Like, I keep an eye on them. I hope they do well. And he's like, okay, have you ever played football? I said, yeah, I played football like on weekends in school, right? And I played it like with a few friends, but nothing professional or competitive. Yeah. This guy's like, well, I played in Sunday leagues and like certain leagues and stuff, and I've got a coaching badge. And I was like, okay, cool. Where are you going with this?
Yeah.
And he said, so I don't think that you would understand football to the same level I do.
Okay.
And
I still agree with that.
And I said, okay, cool, that's great, but does that mean therefore that I can't have an opinion on football because I haven't played it? Because if so, going by that logic, only those that have played the sport to an elite level can enjoy the sport to that level. That's not entirely fair, is it? And I said, and by that factor of thinking, I can't have an opinion on anything in the world because I'm not well versed in it. So I said, so that's a bit much, isn't it? And he's like, no. Like when you play it and you've been involved in it, you understand the physicality of it and how hard it is. I said, yeah, of course, I understand that, but where are you going with this conversation, right? So he was yapping on, and I said, okay, hang on, let me ask you a question. Who do you support? He said, I support Villa. And I was like, oh, okay, so you must hate Blues then. And he said, Blues? I said, Birmingham City, you must hate Birmingham City. He's like, I didn't mention Birmingham City. I don't know who they are. I'm not...
I don't know who they are.
No, like, I didn't mention them. I'm not upset about them or anything. I didn't say them in a bad way. You brought them up. I said, oh, I'm sorry. You must be one of the exception then that actually don't have a problem with them. That's fair. I just made an assumption with the same logic that you applied to me of being a Man United fan, right? He said, no, I didn't assume you were a Man United fan because you didn't like Liverpool. I said, what do you base it on? He said, because you're Asian. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this conversation. I was like, this is just going nowhere, isn't it? I just said, you know what, have a good evening. So I turn around, I'm trying to watch the football. The guy brings his glass up and he says, cheers. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to talk to you, mate. So I'm good. So I said, no, I'm good.
You said no to a cheers?
Then he tries to shake my hand.
How do you do no to a cheers?
Huh?
How do you do no to a cheers?
Because I could tell there was
No,
something.
not why. How? How do you do it, like, physically?
I just said, I'm good, mate. That's
So
it.
he puts his glass up?
Yeah, I just said, I'm good, mate. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I could tell something was off about him, but I was like, this is weird. I don't like the interaction that we just had.
And now he's carrying on with it.
And I was like, now you're carrying on. I was like, you know what? I'm good. So I said, no, I'm good. Then he tried to shake my hand. I said, I'm not going to shake your hand, mate. Right? Then he screams at the top of his voice, fuck you. Fuck you. And I was like, whoa, okay.
0 to 100.
Because I didn't shake your hand. Okay.
What are his other friends doing at this point?
So at this point, he's got a friend in front of him who's sitting there, right? His friend in front turns around and looks at him and says, what's your problem, to his mate? And his mate's trying to explain it.
To you or to
No,
him?
he said that to his drunken friend, right? So let's call this guy in front Gary, right? Let's call the drunken guy here.
Okay.
So Gary turns around and says to the drunken guy, what's the problem? Like, you're swearing at the top of your voice.
Yeah.
That guy wasn't swearing at you. Why are you swearing at him? And he just tried to say some stuff. It didn't really make much sense. I just wasn't paying attention. I was watching the TV. Gary turns to me and says, is everything all right? I said, to be honest, mate, I don't really want to talk to him anymore. I just want to watch the football. He's a bit drunk anyway, so I thought I'd just leave it. He said, you know what? Fair enough. He chats a lot of shit anyway. I was like, all right, cool.
You're like, yes, lad. I
done.
shake your hand.
I was like, conversation's done. All right, sweet. So what was bugging me and Sonny was that this chair spare was still spare. And I was like, no one's come to sit here.
Who had you originally asked?
Huh?
Drunk
I asked
man.
him.
Drunk man.
The
Not
drunk
Gary.
guy. Yeah,
drunk man, yeah.
So I asked him, is the chair spare, etc. He said, no, it's taken. So no one's sitting here. The game's about to start. It gets postponed because there's obviously a bit of a late one happening.
Yeah.
And an uncle comes up, a Desi uncle comes up and sits in that chair.
Right.
And I'm like...
He's not Gary's mate.
No, he is. He knows him.
Oh!
He knows them all, right? And I was like, huh? And uncle comes up to me and Sonny and says, good that, lads. He shakes our hand. And we're like, how you doing?
Coconut or not?
No, he's full Punjabi and everything.
Proper.
Like, he speaks Punjabi, he speaks in English, right?
Yeah,
and he was just saying, like, is everything cool? Like, just checking how we were. He said, I don't see you guys that often. And we're like, we don't really come to the pub much. He's been living in the area for about 40 years. And his wife passed away a few years ago. Okay. So he was telling us about that and how he's really, like, focused on the community and he's happy in the pub because he knows all the guys there.
Right.
And they look after him. And I was like, mate, I'm really happy for you, genuinely. I'm glad you found your people. So I had a chat with him. He was having a good time. Everyone's having...
Did you mention
a good laugh? Huh?
Did you mention the incident with him?
I can't remember if I did. I think Sonny mentioned it. Yeah, Sonny mentioned the incident to him in Punjabi. So he was saying it in perfect Punjabi because Sonny is good in Punjabi, right?
What did he say about the guy? He must know the guy then.
He said, like, has there been a problem? And Sonny said this, that, and the other. He said, like, he's causing a bit of an issue. Yeah. And he's like, Jolo, leave it. I'm here now. It's fine. So Sonny found out that Uncle lived there for 40 years. Sonny said, oh, Uncle, you live here for 40 years? He's like, yeah. He said, well, cheers to that then, right?
You gave him a cheers.
So Sonny, me and him cheers the guy.
Loud cheers.
And this white guy turns to us and says, racist, you're fucking racist to me and Sonny. And I was like, whoa. Just because I'd done that, right? Me and Sonny were looking at him and we're thinking, this is getting interesting.
Yeah.
Right? This guy who's pissed out of his face is getting angry. Gary turns around and says, you need to shut the fuck up. You sit down now.
To drunk guy.
To his mate. He says, you sit down now. You shut the fuck up. If you keep chatting, I'm going to knock you out and throw you out myself. Right? Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Right? And I was like, fair play.
Sorted it. Yeah.
They dealt with it themselves.
What did Uncle say?
Huh?
Uncle said.
Uncle said, leave it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And I was like, Uncle, you're being a bit compliant in this. But Jello, it is what it is.
Complicit. Uncle, sort your mates up, man.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's all settled. The game's going on. Real Madrid scored their first goal. I got a Sonny and I'm like, oh shit, it's happened. It's happened.
Start cheering.
Right, it's happened. And he's staring at me. I can't see that, right? Sonny's looking at me, but he's also staring back at him, making full eye contact.
Who is Sonny is?
Yeah, he's just staring him out, clean. He's like making him really uncomfortable. Fine, that happens. Later on in the night, this guy's in and out of sleep, the drunken bunda. Right, he's smashed. People around us are like looking, pointing in that direction, like, look, he's asleep. And a few other guys were trying to get a good angle with the TV. And they were like our age, a bit younger, and they couldn't see. So we shuffled up our chair, said, lads, pull up a chair, come and see. Like, no issues. If you want to put your drinks here, that's fine. So they were all happy because we managed to pull a table in. Later on as well, one of the guys came up to me there and he said, I know you from somewhere. I was like, oh, I said,
Ankile.
I was like, yeah.
Bhangra dancer.
Was it?
Can I have your autograph?
Is it from the podcast? Maybe. he's like, no, you went to a gym I used to go to. I said, oh, you mean UTC in Erdington? He said, yeah, you're Bal's brother. I was like, yeah, I am. Right? He said, how you doing? Had a little bit of a chat with him, and he's a proper sound guy. It was just nice, just catching up with him for a couple minutes. So he walks off, and I reckon it's upsetting this guy that we're getting on with people in the pub. And we're just having a good conversation.
This guy has a problem with everything, man.
So this guy's getting upset and agitated in the corner. Later on, the uncle next to us overhears him talk about me and Sonny. He says, "Are those two packies over there?"
Whoa, wait,
yeah,
he
said that, right? And then
the
Uncle
drunk guy
heard
says
it.
The drunk guy says this.
Yeah, Uncle
loud.
Uncle heard it.
Did you hear it?
I heard packies, but I was like, I don't know if I heard that correctly because I'm hard of hearing and I'm watching the game.
And you don't know if the reference is you.
So Uncle heard that and he tapped Gary and said, "Did you hear that?" He said, "What?" He said, "Just called him two packies." Gary gave him the dirtiest look and he's like, "I'll deal with you tomorrow."
To the guy.
Right? He had that look in his eyes. He'd say, "I'll deal with you tomorrow." Turned around, just watched the game. And I said, "Uncle, did he say that?" He said, "Yeah." And me and Sonny were about to lose it. We were about to go completely mad. Because I was like, who the fuck are you to call us that, basically, right? All of this because I wouldn't conversate with you. So just because I won't conversate with you, you think you can call me that? All right, cool. So clearly I knew within me there was something wrong with him, like with the way he was acting and the way he was talking to us. So I was like, wow, okay. The drunk guy goes off to the toilet. Me and Sonny are sitting there. And Gary turns around to us and says, "You know what, I want to apologize." I said, "What are you apologizing for?" He said, "I want to apologize on behalf of him." I said, "You don't have to do that." He said, "He's not normally like this." I said, I reckon he probably is, but you lot don't realize. And he said, maybe he is. I said, "You don't have to do anything. It's fine. Like, thank you for sticking up for us. We appreciate that. And good for calling him out on that behavior. But the way he acted wasn't right. And that's not cool." And he said, "I'll have a word with him in the morning." I said, "You don't need to do that." And Sonny said, "You know what? I think you should." And Sonny said, "I've got kids. They've been here for a couple of years. I don't want them to be brought up in this world where this has happened." And he said to Gary, "You've got like kids, I'm sure. Like you've got grandkids, children, nieces, nephews. Do you want them to be brought up in a world like this?" He said, "No." He said, "Well, there you go. It's probably in your best interest to talk to him in the morning and see how it goes." So this guy's drunk. He leaves. He walks out later on at the end of the game.
The drunk guy.
We said to Uncle, "Uncle, just be careful with the people you hang out here because they might say nice things to you, but that guy next to you, you didn't know that he was like that, and he showed it tonight."
And he knew him as well.
Yeah, and I was like, just be aware of that, innit? So me and Sonny left, and we were like, that was an eventful evening. I've never seen that.
More eventful than the football, yeah.
Racism's still there, man. Clean. I've never had it overtly said to me like that before. And you know when you meet someone, you can just feel the vibe come off them. I was like, okay. When he said it's because you're Asian, I was like, you know what, mate? This conversation may go badly, so I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, for me, it's still benefit of doubt because I know a lot of Asian people do support Man United. That is just
no, I know they do, and that's fine. But
it
was the way the conversation had gone, where he was trying to downplay me liking football, what I liked, and I was like,
that bit was just weird.
It seems like you have a problem with me.
Yeah, for no reason.
But But in fairness to everybody there and that guy's mate, they at least called him out for it and they stopped it. And I was like, respect, man. You didn't have to do that at all. So it's good to see that there's some hope out there for all this stuff. But yeah, man, racism's still alive and kicking.
There you go. Look, Indy is a shit magnet. Do not hang around with him. These things will happen to you.
This is what happens to you, man. You get target of racial abuse, all that stuff, man. It's wild.
You're okay?
I'm fine, man.
Well,
I was just like, man, when he said when he called me and Sonny a packy,
Hmm.
I was close to losing it. Like within seconds, I was like, yo, this could go down. And Sonny's from Preston, so
Right.
he's dealt with a lot of racism growing up.
Okay.
So for him, he's dealt with thousands of these interactions. So he knew how to antagonize him, but also
Staring at him.
yeah, and also to do the cheers and stuff. He knew how to grind his gears. So he's like, I've seen this before, and he's a psychologist, so he knows all these things.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one we want to get on our podcast.
Yeah, the one that won't come on.
Yeah.
He won't
Story
come on.
man.
He won't
Stories you
come on.
can't tell us.
Yeah. He won't come on.
Oh, he's like the
But,
perfect person, man. He's like the Riddler.
Yeah, he is the perfect person, man. But man, as soon as we left, I was like, what a result. Liverpool lost, but
Yeah.
also we managed to have a racist show his true colours, and his mates are gonna have a word with him tomorrow and see what happens. So yeah, that was an eventful evening, and I was like at my local, mad. At my local.
To think it can happen close to home and it's somewhere you've grown up where you should
That close to
feel
home,
safe.
yeah. I did feel for the uncle though, because I was like, you don't want to rock the boat of your community you've built here. You don't want to make things worse. You just want to keep things level, innit?
Calm.
Yeah. So, nice little juxtaposition for you, if that's the word for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Interesting segment.
that was it. There you go.
You had a real
If
story.
only you were
man.
there with me, and then you could say, I've officially been a victim of racism now in the country, when you said I've never been racially abused before. That would have happened to you because you were with me.
Yeah.
So you would have been lumped in with
Or
me.
you would have been with me and it wouldn't have happened.
You never know, mate. You never know.
Like I said, it's always different. Like, because obviously you get drunk people go to the hospital, but when someone's in need, their perception often changes
Yeah, maybe.
very quickly.
Maybe.
Whereas if you saw me outside of hospital and didn't know I was a doctor,
The respect factor goes, isn't it? It's just
sometimes.
gone.
Yeah, sometimes. I think if people feel like they've gotten in and they feel like you're under your skin,
Yeah.
then they'll keep going.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, it's very easy just to ask them a few questions and they're like, what? And they get confused about where to take the conversation.
Yeah.
You just confuse them with questions. It's the whole thing, psychology behind bullying as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
When someone does that, it's like, well, how do you respond to it? You just ask them good quality questions. You become a coach to them.
Yeah.
And you just mess with their head.
Pretty much.
And then you go and think about that, okay?
You could pull it out of him. You can pull that.
Yeah.
I pulled the racist thing out of him. I could feel it in him. When I met him, I was like, I can tell there's something off about you. Not because you were drunk, but just because of the way you were acting.
You got to remember, because what the alcohol is doing, it's not the alcohol.
It's loosening your inhibitions.
Exactly. It's all there. It's just it brings
You
it
just
to
gotta get it
it brings
out.
it to the surface. Yeah. Whereas
I didn't have to try too hard
before,
either.
if he's not drunk, he just suppresses it well.
There we go.
Might not be there. Might not say anything to you. So
Never know.
no.
But yeah, man,